didn't make sense. Hey guys, welcome back to another channel, Bean here, and today I'm coming at you with just a short, quick little video, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a writing sort of video here today because I haven't really done nearly as much reading as I normally do throughout the last few months, and instead I have been working on some writing. So for those of you who don't know, as of right now, when I am filming this video, it is November. Basically, what happens in November is what's called National Novel Writing Month. Now, you've probably heard of me talk about this before, and if you haven't on this channel, then you probably have on my own personal channel, where I am doing weekly vlogs about my NaNoWriMo experience. So let's back up for a second. What is NaNoWriMo? For those of you who don't know, NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. Now, the whole goal of National Novel Writing Month is that for the month of November, writers from across the globe get together and we spend the month attempting to write a first draft or an edited draft or a zero draft of a novel. What that translates to in NaNoWriMo terms is that you basically try to write 50,000 words in a month. And that's quite a few words when you get down to it. So I just wanted today to go through some of the tactics I used in the month before, in what we now call Preptober, so in October, in order to prep myself for NaNoWriMo. So we're just gonna hop right into it. I have a couple key tools that I use for NaNoWriMo every year. Probably the first one that I always pick up is I pick up a new notebook. This is the notebook that I'm using, and it is my Basil Green project. So this is my supernatural mystery that I am currently working on. Now, I use this for basically everyday kind of purposes. So I carry this notebook around with me everywhere I go. When I leave the house, which isn't very often right now because COVID and quarantine, but I always have this on my desk even when I'm working, because if inspiration should strike, I need somewhere to literally jot down a couple ideas, and some things will get crossed off later and some things don't, and it's just half of the stuff in here I'm probably not going to end up using, but I do it for things like maps, so that way I can map out, like, this is Basil's apartment, this is what it looks like. It's pretty straightforward, it's simple like this. But yeah, so that's what I use this for. I always have a pen and a notebook in my purse at all times, or in my backpack, or in my overnight bag, whatever I am carrying around that day. So I always have one of these around with me. I prefer to handwrite things. It just works a lot better for me personally, and that's not true for all people. Moving on, the next thing that I always use for NaNoWriMo is my laptop. I have a MacBook, so this is just a MacBook, regular one. This one's from like 2015, 2016, something like that. But my computer is something that I take everywhere with me, basically. So one of the key things that I use on my computer is obviously the internet, and the big thing is the NaNoWriMo website. I'm just going to give you a little shot right there. This is what it looks like. This is where I'm at so far. So the front home page is going to be your profile page, and it has everything from your current word count and the goal all the way to the different badges you've won, any write-ins or virtual write-ins for your area or for general NaNoWriMo HQ, so the whole international version of this. And it has writing groups, there's a store, they have specific offers that they use, which I will get to in a second, and they also have like their Twitter feed and such up here. So it's quite a bit of stuff going on. One of the other things that I use a lot on my laptop, and we're just going to keep showing this because it's easier, is I actually use Dabble. Now what Dabble, let's not show you any spoilers. So basically, what Dabble is it is a website that you can get a discount on from the Nano website, and it helps you to organize your novel. I'm using it right now because it automatically will sync with the NaNoWriMo website in order to update your word count all the time. So that makes keeping track of how many words I've written in a day that much easier. The other thing I always have open on my laptop is I always have YouTube open because I listen to a channel called Ambient Worlds that plays music from video games and movies and different soundtracks, and it's just a couple hours of this calming music, or this music that gets you kind of into the mindset of what's happening in your story. So I highly recommend this. The other thing that I always have open on my computer is that I use Notion. Now, Notion is a program that is generally used for writing schedules and all of this kind of thing. We use it to outline novels. It's used a lot for theses, actually. I have learned it's used a lot for postgraduate work. And I am using this one to write my novel because Callie and I, when we started writing our series, we started using Notion so that way we can be in two different places and still be writing together. And it works out really well. There's a phone app for it as well. So if we come up with any ideas, I'm able to put it on my phone as well. So that works really nicely. It updates in real time. It saves, so it's all saved online. You have your own account, so it works out great for that. Not to mention I can keep track of other things on Notion as well. So that's kind of the basics that I have. I also always have dictionary app up with a thesaurus, so that way if I've noticed that I've used the same word in a paragraph like 3 or 4 times, I can switch it out because I will get bored if I read something like that. So that's all good. But that's basically kind of the tools that I use when it comes to NaNoWriMo. Now, for Preptober, I'm going to move on to this. There were a couple things that I made sure that I did before I started actually writing my novel. So the basic thing is I had to have an idea. Now, the idea, luckily enough for me, my idea came probably 6 or 7 months ago. I got the idea for Basil Green. And it's interesting because looking back on when I first came up with this idea, it has changed so much. It has completely done a revamp on what I expected the story to be. It is not what I expected it to be anymore, and it is now its own thing. It has basically created its own. The characters have kind of just been like, yeah, no, that's not the plot anymore. That doesn't make sense. Nope, we're not doing that, not doing that. Let's have a cat. It's like, okay, it's random things that kind of have sparked up over the past several months that have become what I'm currently writing as the Basil Green novels. So the few things that really helped me to come up with my solid story were I created a playlist on my Spotify account. This playlist has several songs that just remind me of Basil Green and remind me of Sith, who's my other main character, and remind me of the story that I'm writing. They're my inspiration. So when I really need something else and I'm struggling for something else to write or another idea to come up with, I go to a playlist and I'll play some music. And when it comes up and be like, dude, this is totally the scene. This is what's going to happen right here. I can play that song on repeat if I need to and just write out that at least the first part of the scene until I get into the groove of things and I can keep going. The next thing that I usually do is I try to come up with like a basic character list and some basic character traits, but that kind of evolves into creating a generalized outline. Now, basically what this includes for me is that I went into Notion and I created chapters. And now all of these chapters, I say chapters, but they're not the full chapters because it's probably going to change on where things are spaced out and everything. But it's basically key points in the story that happen. And it's like, this is an important scene that needs to happen. And this is an important thing that needs to happen. And kind of the order that they need to happen in. That way I can pick them up and move them around if I need to. Again, Dabble is great for doing that because they have index cards kind of layout, which works out really well for this. So I figure out kind of my generalized outline. And again, that'll change as I'm writing. I'm kind of one of those people that when I write, it's not so much that I have this story in my head already. It's more that my characters go and do something, and I'm the one writing up the incident report. That's kind of how we look at writing as being, is it's a report. Like, these idiots did this. Like, look what they did. Look at that. It's crazy. So that's what writing is for me, at least. The other thing that I kind of set up for NaNoWriMo is that I also set up some personal goals, because the whole thing with NaNoWriMo is writing this novel, but it's still being able to take care of yourself while you're doing something that you love and working more on it than you would normally. So I'm currently working on the equivalent of 4 books. So that means that I am doing a lot of writing. Now, for NaNoWriMo, I have decided to kind of take it a little bit easier on our fantasy series that we're writing, so I'm not working on most of my stuff. I also am doing less freelance writing, which I have also started doing, which is very exciting. But I have had to come up with a schedule for when I am going to make sure that I have me time, make sure that I have time to hang out with friends, whether it's online or in person, socially distancing. Make sure I have time to spend with my boyfriend, make sure I have time to spend with my family when we can, and make sure that I also have me time to like sit and watch movies. I mean, call me a nerd, call me terrible and completely out of it, but Christmas movies have started to come out on Netflix, and I'm kind of a sucker. In conclusion, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about NaNoWriMo and about Preptober and the different things that I did in order to prep for this month. Now, for my update right now, I have written a little over 12,000 words in the past 7 days for my NaNoWriMo novel, so I'm actually a little bit ahead, not by much. I'm only ahead by maybe a couple hundred words, so I haven't written yet today, but I am doing quite well for myself, in all honesty. At least I think I'm doing quite well. So I might actually finish a book this month, which would be super exciting. Or I might finish writing my 0 draft this month, which would be super exciting. So we'll keep you guys updated. But that was going to be my update here. I know this isn't one of the normal videos. The end of this year has gotten a little bit strange, and we do apologize for that. But things are happening. In fact, Callie got married yesterday, so that's super exciting. Congratulations to her. Mwah! Love you both. You guys are awesome. And on that note, that's all I got for you guys here today. So if you enjoyed this video, please, now is a perfect time to give it a thumbs up and to hit the subscribe button down below. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And if you hit the bell icon down below, you can be reminded whenever we post new videos. All of our information is down in the description below, and we would love to talk to you in the comments as well. So until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading. Bye!